Greetings, YouTube. Today we're talking about the Star Trek Spaceflight Chronology, the pioneering days, the major events, the turn of the 21st century, the birth of the Federation, the first Starship Enterprise, Starfleet, and the trek to the stars, official logs, Starfleet Command super warp designs, speculations on the future of spaceflight. Stan Goldstein, Fred Goldstein, illustrated by the brilliant art of the space age artist Rick Sternbach. And it says up here, the human adventure beyond our world, from the first small steps to the voyage of the new USS Enterprise in the 23rd century. This was printed in January 1980, and this is the first Wallaby printing. So what do we have in here? What we have in here is an illustrated tech manual. I like the big friendly font that made me smile. And it starts with some of the earliest forms of spaceflight. So we have the Mercury Atlas era, then we move into the Pioneer Venus probe of 1978, and then we have the Space Shuttle, which was pretty much the state of the art when this was printed. And then we start getting into this speculation, for example, the USS Cornelius. And of course, since it's ended in 1980, from this point on, 82 on, is all pure speculation, though they had some ideas what was going on. Now, besides having the nice sketch-style technical drawing, not sketch-style, but technical drawings, they also have some nice color work in here. For example, a full page of the U.S. Copernicus, which is very nice. Then we get into some more past of actual history. Then we start getting into the speculation, at least speculation at the time of the printing of this book. Then we get full-blown into the 21st century, where we live now, and where sadly we are lacking far behind what was being speculated in 1980. And we have a Planet Rover, 2012 to 2020. So we're supposed to have these already. We don't. Then we have the UNSS Wheeler, which I thought which makes me smile because it has that vaguely submarine vibe. And if you've ever seen the original Star Trek series, it very much has a submarine military vibe to the whole thing, which always made me smile. The UNSS Lewis and Clark, the Adventure Class, and there's the Wheeler again. And then we start getting into some of the logs, and these are supposed to be logs that are historical to the Federation itself. And some of these are quite an interesting read. Now, what I found fascinating with this whole book is that the canon I have in my head is, I think, right out of the Star Trek, The Next Generation. The whole, we had a nuclear war. After nuclear war was the, it was the Gene Wars that led to a nuclear exchange, and so we had to rebuild after that. So I don't see that reflected in this. So I don't know if this was written before that was the history of the Federation, or am I just misremembering it? I'm not an expert of Star Trek. I'm a fan, but I'm not an expert. And I love these kind of designs. I really, really do. Not to say I don't also really appreciate the full page here. We have the UNSS Tycho Brahe, the Sublight Explorer, and then we have like Alpha Centauri. So they started making explorations into other star systems. More log pages. Then again, more vessels. Now we start looking at, for example, this one here, the Amulet Class. This starts looking more like an actual Star Trek kind of a vehicle. Some of these are still looking very exploration, first generation designs. This right here, this looks much more refined. This looks like something that is in a television, series like that we have a memory of. And now we're getting into the era of the late 21st century, which I will never see. For example, the work pod. I love work pods. I think work pods are cool. I've always really been appreciative of little vehicles that you climb into and have arms and stuff. And we have the Space Tank Class. So we have something designed specifically for combat. Then we have the UNSS Pollux, the Messier class. Apparently there was a French influence. Then we have the Warp 3.25 cruiser, the USS Horizon of the Horizon class. So it's then Rigel, finally meeting some true alien races. And we get into the 22nd century. Now these are full-blown science fiction style ships, and I eat this kind of stuff up. And I think some of these designs, frankly, are more intriguing to me visually. Like this here, this hammerhead design here, I think is visually more intriguing than a lot of the things that we're actually seen in the series. And like for this Starliner, that Starliner is just cool looking. It really is. There's no mistaking that. I really like that. So we have here, we have dual worlds. So they're talking about some unusual stellar structures that the Federation has encountered. Okay, now we're into the middle of the 22nd century. The USS Dewey University class. I mean, that's a ship that I would like gladly hop into, even though it's not, the fastest thing in the universe, and then get head off. Here we have a dry dock, so you pull your ship in there to have it retrofitted or repaired and such. And look at that, the Tritium Class. That's just cool looking. Here we have the King Charles Stellarford class, looking very regal in that. Then we have here's the Tritium, and again in a nice full-page color illustration. Here, in fact, we have a dinosaur, part of the Worlds and Evolution program. Now we get into the late 22nd century. And there we have the prototype battle cruiser, which has that very familiar shape that we've all come to know and love. And then again, the Moscow Baton Rouge, which is an unusual combination of now. Here we have the USS Endurance, which is a cool looking vehicle. I kind of like that ovoid with the nacelles behind it. And here we have the Warp 4.8 cruiser, the Moscow Baton Rouge class. And apparently under construction because this nacelle has not been attached to the vessel. What do we have here? This would be Hydra 2. Really great and original name on that one. Can't come up with a new name. Nope, just gotta call it Hydra 2. We have a water world discovery. Discovered by the USS Poseidon. What really horrible writing for the people that did this series. Here we have the U.S. Enterprise Constitution class. That's just makes me smile. Brings back so many memories. And here we have a full-blown page picture of it. Then we have the old shuttles, which I always found quite cool looking. In fact, I believe I built. In fact, not only did I build a shuttle, I really customized a shuttle once. It was my first venture into doing scratch-built stuff, or modifying. Really hacking something apart and putting it back together for my own use. And here we have the new retrofitted, because this, I believe, was printed when it came out, was part of the launch of the first Star Trek movie. And then we have the declassified potential ship of the future, which has lots of thin lines, but it still has that same kind of a conning tower that you saw in the early ships, and I still make that. Still, I think makes me smile. And this vessel right here looks very much like it's designed for exploration and combat, and not the kind of things that the Enterprise was designed for, which is long-range exploration. And here we have the United Federations of Planets. Then you have the little blurb on the back. So that has been the Star Trek Space Flight Manual. I think it's a really cool book. I'm glad it's in my collection, and I got it dirt cheap at a thrift store.